Broncos country, what's going on? Back with another video. If you haven't checked out my Evan Engram film breakdown, please do it in the description. Had a lot of fun putting that together. But the Broncos are adding to the tight end room, and I really like this. I think that this is direct competition, not for Lucas Krull, but for Nat Adkins. So I'm going to dive into why Caden Prieskorn is absolutely a Sean Payton guy. Again, I got some other videos linked in the description for you to check out. Marky's video on him, as well as an interview that Priestcorn did a couple months ago. So let's go ahead and get started. So we need tight ends. That is not a secret. And I was surprised that Caden Prieskorn wasn't drafted. And I was really hoping the Broncos would have signed him um, when the draft ended, but he ended up going to Detroit. Detroit ends up cutting him, and now he's making his way to Denver. Now, Andy has approved Caden Prieskorn. I love it. We'll dive into what Andy had to say here in just a moment. But some things that I did want to cover from the get-go with Caden Prieskorn is that he was a high school quarterback and tried to go to college at the quarterback position first. That was great. So similar to RJ Harvey, and he actually had some time at quarterback in college, but Caden Prieskorn was a high school quarterback. He was saying, all these teams in college wanted me to play tight end. I wasn't going to do it. But then by the time I got to college, I just wanted to get on the field. And he started out at Memphis, guys, as a walk-on. So tremendous work ethic. He didn't get on scholarship until his redshirt sophomore year at Memphis. So a very mature player as well. He's married and has 2 kids. He's 25 years old, so a little bit older. That could be part of the reason why he was not drafted. But I will say, shout out to Trevor Simca from the NFL Stock Exchange. I think he had Caden Prieskorn ranked as his number 10 tight end throughout the season. And you can see, not the most productive tight end in terms of like mind-blowing stats, but good production. His last year at Memphis, 602 yards, 7 touchdowns. And then he goes to Ole Miss the last 2 years, essentially averages 15 yards a reception in the SEC the last couple of years with 7 total touchdowns. But Caden Prieskorn, again, Sean Payton loves like older dudes. Pause. He loves older dudes, older rookies, guys that are a little bit more mature. I believe Bo Nix was married even before he got drafted, right? So I find that interesting. Got 2 kids, and I love to see how he has gone from walk-on to a scholarship player over the last 5-6 years or so. Tremendous work ethic. So love to see that. Now, let me go ahead and get to why I think he's going to be direct competition for Nat Adkins. When you dive into kind of where he has played, reading scouting reports, yes, he plays a lot of inline tight end. He does have some ability to go outside or rather into the slot and play. But I think where he's going to carve his role out as an NFL tight end is going to be an inline tight end and an H-back. He did play as an H-back quite a bit in the backfield at Ole Miss. And so I see this as direct competition to Nat Adkins. So I love the fact that we're bringing in more competition in this room with Lucas Krull. Caleb Lohner is going to be his top opponent. And I think with Nat Adkins, Caden Prieskorn is going to be kind of his main opponent, fighting for a 53-man roster spot. Now, do we still need to sign somebody like Gerald Everett to compete with Adam Trautman? I would absolutely love that. But yeah, he's got great size, 6'6", 255. I think on my slide before I had 6'5", 250. If you guys want to compare a little bit with the RAS scores, here's Caden Prieskorn again. Nothing that's going to like blow your mind or anything like that. But you can see here the 4.77 speed, the 1.65 10-yard split is pretty decent. When you're wanting to compare it with somebody like Nat Adkins, He's a much better athlete than Nate Adkins. And I mean, I love Nate Adkins. I love the fact that he likes root beer vapes, but I think that Caden Prieskorn right now, at least on paper, is a better athlete than Nate Adkins. Nate Adkins, 6'2", 250 pounds and change. He ran a 4.8740. Again, Caden Prieskorn ran a 4.71 or 77. And then the 10-yard split, Prieskorn was at 1.65. Nate Adkins at 1.72. Arm length is also significant. You can see gosh, if I can talk. Nate Adkins, 31-inch arms. Caden Prieskorn, 33.5 inches. So he's going to be a guy that's going to be able to get a bunch of these contested catches over the middle of the field. He can run the crossers. He can run the in-breaking routes. Trevor Simca brought this up on his podcast earlier. He's going to run those dig routes really well. He's somebody, that can get out in the flat and kind of do those normal, typical tight end stuff. But he can also get in the backfield and be that lead blocker if you need. And so ideally, you don't want to have anybody on the roster that's just a fullback, nor do you want to go into the NFL season with this offense with no fullback. I think Caden Prieskorn is somebody that is going to compete for that role that Nate Adkins has found himself in right now. And I like Nate Adkins. I thought he was kind of one of our sneaky, sleeper, unsung, like not heroes, but, surprises of last year. I think he had like 4 touchdowns or something like that. So we'll see how this competition goes. Shout out to Andy saying here, adding Prieskorn to the tight end room is a very good addition. A guy who will compete for a roster spot on the 53. 850 yards and 7 TDs in his final 2 years at Ole Miss. Was very reliable in the middle of the field for Jackson Dart and company. Totally agree with that. And I think has shown himself to be a good run blocker as well. I know David Yukin's going to crash out about this, but I have to bring up PFF. 61.6 with his run blocking this past year, and he's had some other good years. 55.5 at Ole Miss the year previous, and then he's had a 2021 year where he graded out at 75.7 as a run blocker. This is going to be, somebody that I do have confidence in being a run blocker for us. And we can go ahead and take a look at the receiving. I think Markey hit up on this, but 44% of his snaps this past year in the slot, about a third in line, and contested catch rate is at 75%. That is fantastic. So another red zone threat, another guy who can go up and get some jump balls. We got Caleb Lohner, who's freaking 6'7". We got some tall trees on the outside at wide receiver, whether it's Pat Bryant or Courtland Sutton or the great A.T. Perry, another downfield contested catch guy type of threat. I love it. So I think that this is a sneaky good move. This was one that I was really hoping the Broncos were originally going to make after the draft concluded. Go out and get Caden Prieskorn. I think I might have even mentioned that in one of my live streams right after the draft. How, hey, if we're going to draft Caleb Lohner, it would be good to go and get a guy that has a little bit more experience than just 1 year of football. So I think this is great. Again, guys, former quarterback. Sean Payton loves these former quarterbacks. R.J. Harvey, former quarterback. Of course, Taysom Hill, former college quarterback as well, if I remember correctly. I think that this is great. Now, can he throw the football? Can he turn into a Taysom Hill? Hey, we'll have to see. But also another basketball player as well, big-time athlete. Love to see that at the tight end position. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and get to some of your comments here. David said, please let us not be talking about PFF. Yeah, they still think, John Franklin Myers is on the Jets? What's up with that? But Caden Prieskorn, he's got he's got a son, and then he just had a daughter recently. So congratulations to him. And that's right, man. Sean Payton loves older dudes. He loves older rookies. Absolutely. Taysom Hill, yeah, he's in his mid-30s. He's like 35, 36, absolutely. But this is a great sneaky move for the Broncos, adding competition to the bottom part of the roster. And again, it would not shock me to see him beat out Nate Adkins for that H-back role on this team. So we'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, 6'6", 255, and he's going to be able to help in the run game. So I see him more as a traditional tight end with H-back capabilities. This guy is not a freak athlete like Caleb Lohner or Evan Engram. He will, his trajectory, hopefully, is that he can develop into a better all-around tight end than what Adam Trautman has developed into. Even though like Adam Trautman was like a freak tester coming out of, man, where was he? Where was he coming out? It was like a small school. But anyways, that athleticism never showed up in the NFL. I don't know if it was due to injury or something like that. But Caden Prieskorn, love this signing. Thank you, Detroit Lions. Thank you, Dan Campbell, for sending him our way, I guess. So, victory lap, what's going on? And lastly, guys, I want to let you know we got the first episode of the Horsepower Hour coming on tonight at 9 p.m. Mountain Time. So, right after, I think Mike Carmelini's finishing up his stuff, or Altitude Adjustment. When those shows are done, come head back over to our channel. We got one for the Horsepower Hour, but right now this will just be live streamed on our channels, Kodiak, Marky, Jeremy's channel, all that. So it should be a lot of fun. Can greatly appreciate you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on the replay, what you think about this, who you got making the roster, Prieskorn or Nate Adkins. Go Broncos.